All right, coming to you from a hotel room here out on the East Coast, where we're going to talk about the 49ers salary cap situation. This is a big update because I've just finished processing the 49ers contracts, and we've got George Kittle on the books, Brock Purdy on the books, and officially Fred Warner is going to be on the books, including my books here within the course of the next couple days. But I am ready to make a projection regarding the 2025 salary cap space. And this is a big one because it impacts how the 49ers operate in the near term. And of course, it's connected to the long term because unused salary cap space rolls over from season to season. But I am ready to predict that the 49ers will have over $40 million in salary cap space entering training camp. Now, they could still make a signing before training camp, and that could change that a little bit. An expenditure might be Amari Cooper. We can talk a lot more about that. Obviously, an in-season trade or a training camp trade can change the salary cap situation. But the 49ers have been able to walk the tightrope of giving players raises, rewarding players financially, while also improving their short-term salary cap situation. The Brock Purdy contract analysis is up. I finished this on the plane out here yesterday. The lighting I know isn't great right now because I'm in Baltimore, just a little bit north of Baltimore. We have a wedding to go to, but there has to be a salary cap update. Whenever there is news, whenever I have uncovered something, then there has to be a video. And that's what we're doing right now with the hotel room in the background. So you could see the article that I finished writing up on the plane yesterday from San Francisco out here to Baltimore. This is the ultimate Brock Purdy contract breakdown. This features new details on the mega deal. I made a table to illustrate this contract. The table is right here for you. It's a color-coded table. And I know that we broke the contract down in a live video the other day. We didn't have all the data that I do now, but I had this table ready for you at the time. The 49ers have staggered the bonuses out over the course of 4 total bonuses, 1 signing bonus and 3 option bonuses, lowered Brock Purdy's base salary to $1.1 million in 2025. And kept his cap hit at only $9.1 million. I think this was lower than anybody on the outside anticipated. And because Purdy's cap hit has been kept at that $9.1 million, because George Kittle's cap number has actually gone down with his extension, because Fred Warner's cap number will go down from its original $29 million for 2025 with his extension, the 49ers are going to be at about $43 million in salary cap space. If you want to see my math, if you want to see my work, it is right here. And we're going to talk about what the 49ers might be able to do with some of that extra room. But this is the salary cap sheet that is publicly available. If you want to look at it, I'm copying and pasting this and putting it into the comments section. There you go. And here is the sheet. So go into the comment section. You can click on the link. You could follow along. I'll put it up on the screen really quickly. There you go. It's down at the bottom, but it's on Google Sheets and you could check it out because we've got Purdy at $9.1 million. We've got George Kittle now at $14.2 million. He was well above $20 million with his cap hit for the 49ers before he signed the new deal. And we have Fred Warner at an estimated, now this is still an estimate with Fred Warner, $19 million. The contract is official. We're waiting for the final numbers. The salary cap hit for Warner, who's right here, I'm hovering my cursor over it, had been $29 million. So you move that down to 19 because I think that's where the 49ers can get it with the structure that I anticipate them applying to this extension for Fred Warner. So you have big raises for Warner, Kittle, and Purdy, but increased salary cap space in the short term. So you have my calculator here. It's $43.1 million of salary cap space for San Francisco moving forward. So what does that mean? Well, first off, for perspective, the 49ers have the second most salary cap space of any team in the NFL at $43 million. That's the estimate. Maybe it's a little bit higher, maybe it's slightly lower, but it's going to be over $40 million, which is why I used that terminology in the description or in the title of this video. So with the second most money, the 49ers have what we like to call option power. if they want to acquire a CMC-like player, I know there's only one of them in the league, but go back to 2022 when they acquired Christian McCaffrey, they also acquired his contract. Luckily for the 49ers, the Carolina Panthers had just restructured Christian McCaffrey's deal. So the 49ers only owed like $700,000 to $800,000 on the 2022 salary cap. John Lynch talked about that as it was a good thing that they had just restructured his deal because we are able to acquire Christian McCaffrey at a manageable number that fit into our salary cap situation that year. Had they wanted to acquire somebody more expensive, or had Carolina not restructured Christian McCaffrey's contract before that season, the 49ers may not have been able to trade for him because they enter the season with a certain amount of salary cap space. You've got a whole lot less flexibility once that season actually begins. And because of that, you want to acquire contracts that fit within the structure that you have set up. So the fact that the 49ers have over $40 million in salary cap space now, even after executing all this business, and the link to the article, by the way, this is a really, really deep breakdown of the Brock Purdy contract, as you can see here. I'll scroll through it on the screen. But the link to the article up on the San Francisco Standard is in the description. We'll put it in the comment section. And it explains, and I'll go through this video explaining a lot of the stuff, but explains how it got the 49ers to this spot. They now have enough money to absorb whatever they need to downstream. So if they start this season hot, but somebody gets hurt, Brandon Ayuk last year tore the ACL, and so say that they're a little thin at receiver, even if they start this season hot with the weaker schedule, defense is firing out of the gate, the rookies are blossoming, and they say, okay, this is a year where we can really take aim at going all in, pushing in for that Super Bowl. But there's a receiver they can trade for that's got like a $20+ million cap number for the season. The fact that the 49ers have over $40 million entering this season would allow them to make that move. And this team under Lynch and Shanahan has been more aggressive than I think any other team in the NFL over the course of all of these years. I mean, the Rams had their very aggressive stretch. Of course, they backed off, the 49ers emulating them as far as draft building goes. But when you look at trades, essentially every season has seen the 49ers make a pre-deadline trade. Whether it be for a defensive lineman, they had a few of those most recently. Last year, they traded for a defensive tackle, but the year before, 2023, we saw Chase Young come to the 49ers, or for Emmanuel Sanders, a wide receiver, or for Christian McCaffrey himself back in 2022. The 49ers have been very willing participants on the in-season trade market. So I think that the $40 million in salary cap space really, really does give the 49ers optionality moving forward. Now, there is a player like Amari Cooper who's still available. And this seems to be a topic of hot debate surrounding the 49ers. I've seen people saying, well, I don't think they need another receiver. And I think that you're mistaken if you don't think that there's a potential need for another receiver. I'm going to zoom in on the receiver room and give you the depth chart here. You can see Ayuk is shaded in that red because he's hurt. Juwan Jennings, Ricky Pearsall, your top guys. Demarcus Robinson, he's shaded in teal because he's a free agent ad. But Demarcus is potentially going to be suspended for the first couple, maybe 3 games of the season. He was arrested for DUI back in December. That was when he was with the Rams, and the league might still levy some punishment in that situation. So say that both Robinson and Ayuk are out to begin the season, as seems to be a possibility. Even if it's just Ayuk that's out, then you're looking at 4 or at most 5 bodies here, and only, if Robinson's out, only 2 of them are experienced, because I can't say that Jacob Cowing is all too experienced. Jordan Watkins is a rookie out of Ole Miss. Either way, you're having to dip into the depth, which can be found over here, and the depth is young. They love the strides that Tariq Owens has made. He's in his 2nd season now. It's T.O.'s son. Junior Bergen might take a roster spot, but he's more of a specialist than a receiver. We've talked about Isaiah Nayer. That's a big, aggressive hope if you're thinking that Isaiah Nayer is going to be one of your dependable guys. I mean, I get the physical upside, but it may take a while to develop somebody like Isaiah Nayer. So you just look at that and you say, oh boy, the 49ers, it would drop off a cliff as far as proven production if one of these two veterans or both of these two veterans is not available at the start of the season, in Ayuk and Demarcus Robinson. Therefore, the 49ers are interested in adding another receiver. That's why I say Amari Cooper is a potential expenditure. Gabe Davis, I mean, he's coming off the torn meniscus, though, so that's something I think the 49ers would want to be more sure about from a health perspective, but I reported that Gabe Davis visited the facility a couple weeks ago. Either way, the 49ers are interested. They should be interested in adding at that receiver room. That might cost money. They now have the salary cap space to be able to add somebody. That doesn't mean that they should stop looking for cost-efficient deals, because one of the greatest uses of this $40 million plus in salary cap space is the potential carryover into 2026 and beyond. And I can explain that right now when we go back to our cap sheet. That we have the 2025 situation, and the 49ers have, 43 million by my projection in 2025. But that's only this season. Unused salary cap space carries over from season to season. And as I detail in very, very great detail, let's emphasize that here in this article. This is 1,500 words of a Brock Purdy contract breakdown. The 49ers are trying to surf the wave of a rising salary cap. So that there's a reason why they were obsessive about getting Brock Purdy's salary cap hit to be as low as possible in 2025. There's that 9.1 million. And you could see how they did it. They staggered it out through these prorated option bonuses, since the salary cap impact of signing and option bonuses can be stretched up to 5 years. So you can see it elongated over the course of this deal. It's only 9.1 million on a contract worth 53 million annually. That's, to me, that's amazing. Only 9.1 million of the 270 million total that is due Brock Purdy's way over the course of the next 6 years hits the cap in 2025. Well, they're obviously trying to surf the wave of that rising cap. And the cap will rise alongside NFL revenues. There's going to be a renegotiation of TV deals coming up here at the end of this decade. Why do I say that? Well, Brock Purdy's contract toward the end of this decade, that's when the 49ers are going to want to renegotiate this thing. Brock Purdy will be interested in a new deal. I would say the goal, and I wrote about this in the article, the goal is for a new contract to come Brock Purdy's way around the year 2028. You don't plan on playing the rest of this deal out as is, because as you can see, the salary cap hits rise to over $70 million in 2029. You either restructure, or I think it's better for both parties, and probably more likely, given how good of a quarterback Brock Purdy is, it's more likely that you just give him a new deal in 2028 ahead of time. Just like Josh Allen got a new deal ahead of time, you could tell that the 49ers architected this contract with that in mind. Anyway, they're surfing the wave of that rising salary cap. They want to make sure that as the cap increases, their expenses continue to fit under the hood of that salary cap. At $24.8 million in year 2 for Purdy, at $30.8 million in year 3, 2027, I think the 49ers can safely do that. They've left some meat on the bone in terms of base salary here that they can convert to signing bonus so that they can further lower those cap hits. But I think it's not really problematic. I think a number under 31 million for a quarterback is not problematic now, won't be problematic in 2027. It's not really problematic until 2028, but that's when they have a lot of restructuring meat left on the bone, 34.1 million, and they'll have a big time ability to lower Brock Purdy's salary cap hit. So that's what I explain in the article. We're going to get into some more Brock Purdy contract details here in a little bit, including some of the trigger dates and the rolling guarantees and the full guarantees. I was able to make this chart. I got some really good information that, again, you're not finding anywhere else. And this information, I tried to package into a format that most easily illustrates how this contract works, because obviously there are some complexities. But the bottom line is that Purdy came to play ball. He took less money than he could have ultimately gotten. I think that's headline number one out of this situation, because the peace of mind and the ability of his team to have peace of mind and to improve was more important for him than some kind of APY vanity war with this contract. So $53 million for one of the best quarterbacks in football was A-okay, just like Josh Allen was okay with $55 million as the MVP per year. And that allowed the 49ers to set up this salary cap situation where Purdy's hit is at $9.1 million this year. Let me give you an example of how this could have gone differently. Jared Goff, who has a deal that's very similar to Brock Purdy's. In fact, Purdy edged out Jared Goff in terms of average per year. Jared Goff's contract featured an NFL record $73 million signing bonus. So that's $73 million that came Jared Goff's way right away as soon as the Detroit Lions were able to execute that contract. With a $73 million signing bonus, the proration is as such. I'm going to give you guys a calculation here on my phone. 73 divided by 5. It is $14.6 million. So if the 49ers if Brock Purdy had demanded a similar sized signing bonus to Jared Goff, the first year cap hit right here in the blue wouldn't be $8 million. It would be 14.6. You'd have to add 14.6 to at least 1.1. So you'd have 15.7 million as the 2025 salary cap hit. That's a lot more than 9.1 million. That's 6 million that the 49ers were able to save this season just because Brock Purdy was okay taking less, a $40 million signing bonus instead of a 73 or $70+ million signing bonus like the comparable contract for Jared Goff featured. So that's why I say that this was an extremely mature deal, because Purdy was willing to take less now. And then after 4 years, so after 3 years of the extension, Purdy is going to actually have a higher cash flow than Jared Goff, $165.05 million. The key for Purdy in this contract is the trigger that's going to happen from 2027 to 2028. And for that, we'll bring up the trigger chart here that I was able to make. This is cash flow for Purdy that comes in the form of either fully guaranteed money, rolling guaranteed money, or just total injury guaranteed money. Fully guaranteed money is listed in the top section, and it's summarized with the blue shade. Rolling guaranteed money is listed in the middle section, and it's summarized with the green shade. And total injury guaranteed money is listed in the bottom section, and it's summarized with the teal shade. The money, the guarantee structure is a hierarchy. Full guarantees are worth more than rolling guarantees. Rolling guarantees are worth more than total injury guarantees. So as you can see here, we've got the strongest guarantees at the very top, and we have the middle tier guarantees, the rolling guarantees in the middle, and we have the general injury guarantees at the bottom. $181 million in total guarantees. Full guarantees are total guarantees, but total guarantees are not full guarantees. So we're going to work from top to bottom. Purdy's got 2 years of fully guaranteed money rolling in this deal. So in 2025, the cash flow is going to be $41.1 million. That's going to be fully guaranteed. In 2026, the cash flow is going to be $47 million. That's fully guaranteed. Then in 2027, as you can see here, he's got $11.9 million fully guaranteed, no matter what coming in. So that adds up to $100 million fully guaranteed. But the rest of it is not fully guaranteed yet. The remaining $15.3 million in 2027 does not vest into a full guarantee until April 1st of next year, 2026. So that's the first vesting date from rolling guarantee moving up to full guarantee. I think it's safe to bet that Brock Purdy is still going to be on the 49ers after April 1st, 2026. So in effect, he's got 3 years fully guaranteed. But I think it's just really important for people to understand that, to wrap their heads around the fact that the triggers start coming in next offseason on April 1st, 2026. There's a reason why I highlight April 1st, 2027 in red. And that's because that's the massive trigger of this contract. If Brock Purdy reaches April 1st, 2027 with the 49ers, which will mean 2 seasons under his belt, 2025 and 2026. $55.1 million of his 2028 pay becomes fully guaranteed. That means the 49ers would be locked in completely for 2028. And what else they'd be locked in for would be a massive cap hit in 2028 of $57.6 million with a huge base salary here that can be renegotiated. That is why 2028 is the major inflection point in this contract. That is when both sides want Brock Purdy to sign a new deal. So if everything goes well, Brock Purdy and the 49ers will execute another contract negotiation and extension in 2028. That is after this season, 26 and 27. He'll play 3 years on this current deal, and then we'll see what he signs for then. We'll see if he gives the 49ers another discount then. But this is just contract lingo and contract structure stuff that I think is really, really important to understand, because this is how the 49ers surf the wave of the rising salary cap. They've set this deal up with the fully guaranteed and the rolling guaranteed structure and the option bonuses that I've shown you in that staggered fashion that we can go back to right here. They've set this deal up so that the cap hit is only $9.1 million this year, and they have over $40 million of salary cap space with which to either build a team around Brock Purdy or roll money into the future when expenses go up. They've just got to continue surfing the wave of that rising cap. So I think super interesting, super exciting stuff for the 49ers, because they were able to notch the win-win of this deal. I go back to my article off of Brock Purdy's press conference, and the first quote is the one that should stand out to everybody. We wanted to make sure we were working together with the organization to set everyone up for success. It wasn't about me just getting as much money as I could. I wanted to get what I deserve, but also surround myself with guys around me and not take every penny for myself. They started with a very respectable first offer. From there, the communication with my agent was great. There was no drama involved. Nope, there is no drama involved. And now the 49ers, again, have the second most salary cap space in all football. And as soon as this Fred Warner deal is in the books, we'll see where the 49ers are in salary cash spent. But they have already climbed very, very precipitously up the list. The 49ers are already number 4 in salary cash spent in the entire NFL this season, and that is before we have accounted for Fred Warner's deal. So everything that I was telling you over the course of the past several months has been correct. The people that were saying that the 49ers were cheap have been proven very wrong. If you want evidence of salary cash spent, take a look at this. The 49ers are now at $338.3 million total. $340 million is spot number 2. They're not going to get up to number 1. Number 1 is Minnesota. But the 49ers, by spending just $2 million more over the course of the Fred Warner deal, will be number 2 in the NFL in salary cash spent. So they'll be behind the Vikings and probably ahead of the Buffalo Bills. So even while the 49ers are spending all this money, nearly $1 billion over just 9 players, it's a homegrown core for the 49ers, right? The A-list players. Even though they're spending all this money, they still have the second most salary cap space in all football at over $40 million. And that goes to show you how they're working these contracts, and it goes to show you their financial strategy of surfing that rising salary cap wave as it increases with NFL revenues. And they have to carry over a certain amount. I will say that over the past 2 or 3 years, in every single season, they've carried over about 40 million of unused space so that they can do this, because they treat salary cap space now under a lower limit to be more valuable than salary cap space later. So it's like a 0 interest loan. They're going to continue doing that, and you could see how they've set themselves up with the 40 million plus this year, because it could be a very similar financial equation as years before. The salary cap has increased 24.1% over the past 2 seasons alone. Gives you an idea of why the 49ers are operating the way that they are operating. So the article on Purdy is in the description. This is the most detailed Brock Purdy contract breakdown that there is. Of course, it includes this, and it includes, well, I don't talk about salary cash as much there, but I'm talking about it here. It includes the cash flow and the guarantee structure for Purdy. I'm open to questions right now. In Baltimore for a wedding, of all places. So flew from San Francisco yesterday, wrote the Brock Purdy contract analysis, which is up on your screen yesterday. And happy Saturday to everybody. Wedding is going to be here in a couple hours. I've got to go put on the tuxedo in a little bit, and I'm ready to answer any questions that you guys might have. Having all that cap room after spending $1 billion is damn impressive by Jet and company. Well, give credit to Brian Hampton, give credit to Parag Marathe. They are running basically a cap hit deferral strategy that only two teams in the NFL are running at this level. It's the 49ers and the Eagles. I don't know what's wrong with the other teams. I don't know if other teams are still playing catch up, if they felt that it was too risky, but it's really not, because it's a zero interest loan. There's no charge for taking cap charges later. And if unused cap space rolls over from season to season, the people who don't understand this call it a credit card. And that anybody who calls the salary cap a credit card and they say the credit card bill is going to come due, they don't understand how the salary cap works. Because if you don't pay your credit card, you get hit with interest. Like you get hit with big, expensive payments to where you're spending more money if you're waiting past the deadline to pay. So the salary cap is nothing like a credit card. The salary cap is like, a family member loaning you money and saying, just pay me back whenever, no interest. It's the NFL essentially loaning the 49ers salary cap money and saying, pay me back whenever, no interest. They can continue kicking this down the road. The only issue that you ever run into is if you have too much spending in any given season and your sink that season overflows with water. You just can't move it anywhere else. That's always a risk, especially if you're giving out $1 billion worth of contracts to 9 players like the 49ers. So you have to be careful with the way that you structure these deals, but that is why you do structure them like this. It's why you have these staggered setups. And you take advantage of the fact that in the NFL, a bonus is prorated over 5 years against the salary cap. So to help explain that, this one right here, when we look at the blue column in this contract analysis of Brock Purdy, is you can see in the bottom, it's $40 million. That's the size of the signing bonus, but only $8 million at a time hits over 5 years. Then they give him an option bonus that's in the green. That's $38 million. If you divide that by 5, only $7.6 million at a time hits. That's how the 49ers have operated in the salary cap world for so many big deals now. Kittle's deal had 5 bonuses. So you thought Purdy's was big with the 4 bonuses? Kittle's had 5 bonuses. That is an NFL record. Again, no team has done this as aggressively as the 49ers with option bonuses. The only team that has worked more aggressively with void years, and you could see here, they're void years. They tack on years so they could stretch the prorations out even further. As you can see, this yellow proration goes all the way down into one of the void years. The teal proration goes down into 2 of the void years, even though Purdy technically wouldn't be under team control then because the contract will expire. The only team that has parked more money into void years than San Francisco are the Philadelphia Eagles, which is why people who are worried about dead money are broadcasting they don't understand the salary cap. Because if you push money into the future intentionally, like the 49ers have, like the Eagles have, into void years, as you can see here, there's money in void years. Whenever a player's contract expires, the money that's in those void years has to accelerate and hit as dead money. So the 49ers have intentionally created big dead money bills. Like, so much of this is just a result of the 49ers saying, we'll pay it later because there's no interest in this situation. It's how they've gotten into a healthy salary cap situation. Now, are these void years? They're realizing that the cap is growing, and I think that they've played it really well with this Brock Purdy deal. But I cannot emphasize enough that it took Brock Purdy playing ball with the 49ers to make this possible. I go back to that signing bonus. He's willing to take less in year one, $40 million signing bonus instead of something like a $73 million signing bonus for Jared Goff. He's willing to take less in year one, knowing that the 49ers will take care of him. There's a mutual trust coming through in years 2, 3, 4. And he's willing to do that so that the 49ers can have more salary cap space now, more carryover space now. And that's how they're able to get their edge on the league, by realizing the value of cap space relative to cap size. It's going to be worth more when the cap is lower now than in the future, and it's going to carry over anyway. That's how the 49ers are philosophically approaching this entire salary cap situation. Got an official member. Heck yes. Welcome in. You all can sign up for official memberships. I promise that anywhere I am in the world, even Baltimore right now, we're going to have the most in-depth 49ers analysis there is. So welcome to our new member. I think that our membership is growing. I think we may be near 100 members. You get access to some videos early, like the Upton Stout video that everybody seemed to like. Came out to you guys early. We're going to have members only live chats once the regular season starts every month. It's going to be a lot of good stuff, maybe even some stuff from Europe for members over the course of the dead period in this off season. Tommy's getting married. We're going to say congrats to Tommy. Tommy said, I'm getting married. My life is over. I'm not going to put that on the screen. I don't want your wife to see that, your future wife. She's not going to be happy, but we're congratulating you. So that's good. It definitely is a science. Hopefully I'm helping you guys understand better. It's not that easy to explain this over video. I think that the written version, which you guys see, this is why you should sign up for the San Francisco Standard. Again, the link is in the description. That's a great way you can support what we're doing here at the channel, is go to check out the Standard, click on the link, and then you could, again, you go through this. You are not seeing this kind of breakdown anywhere else. And we're also going into the cash flow. This is from Purdy's perspective, right? You want to see how that cash triggers into different types of guarantees. And I think sitting down and reading it is your best way to understand how the 49ers are operating, how Purdy is operating in his camp, Kyle Strong and his agent is operating in this situation. Thank you, Cameron. I appreciate that. Where are we going on vacation this year? That'll be a surprise. It's coming up, though. Coming up right here after the 49ers offseason program. Their OTAs. Craig says, much has been written about the kicking situation. What about the punter situation? Well, they only have Wishnowsky on the roster, so I think they're feeling that he's much healthier. During OTAs, we should be able to see some of that, and we'll be able to ask a little bit more about it. And I promise that I'll have an update on Mitch Wishnowsky after he was dealing with some of those knee issues last season. I will enjoy the wedding. Thank you. But congratulations to Tommy, who is Tommy Huxley. He is a big-time viewer of the channel. He's on almost every one of these chats. He just announced in the chat that he's getting married. When's the big date, Tommy? Let us know when the date is. And maybe you can see, if you want to, and you have a good photo or something that you want us to share when you do get married, then I'd be happy to entertain it, because you are one of the OG viewers. That I think that's pretty cool. Big life event coming up for Tommy. Tommy thinks it's in July. He's not sure when his own wedding is. So at some point in July, Tommy's going to get married, and he's saying that they're just going to elope for now. I don't argue with that decision. I'm not going to advocate for any one way of doing it, but you'll save a lot of money with this method. Eric Gomes says that July sounds just about right. Again, the reason we're talking about weddings and the salary cap at the same time is that I'm not at the wedding right now. I'll be headed to the wedding. I'm in a hotel room right now here in Baltimore. Be headed to a wedding here in a few minutes. Theoretically, getting married might hurt your salary cap space, or who knows? Maybe you'll buy some more salary cap space. Maybe you'll be able to restructure a couple contracts, make it fit. Who knows? So, I mean, sometimes it's not what you expect, right? The 49ers have just given Brock Purdy the largest pay raise in NFL history. They've given George Kittle the largest tight end contract in NFL history. They've given Fred Warner the largest linebacker contract in NFL history. They have spent nearly $1 billion in financial commitments to only 9 players over the course of the past 21 months. Yet they still have the second most salary cap space in the league. Sometimes if you're smart, if you know how to allocate your money, if you know how to work the system, you can go far, not only in life, but with the NFL salary cap. That's exactly how the 49ers are operating right now. So the article that explains a lot of this is up on the screen. I've got to go put on a tuxedo. It's wedding time here in Baltimore. Don't worry, I'm not getting married. I'm already married. I'm just going to the wedding. I don't think that we'd be talking live right now if it were my wedding. So Tommy's getting married, though, in July. So congratulations to him. Everybody check out the link in the description. Thanks for watching. Hit that like, hit that sub button. That helps a lot. We'll talk to you very soon.